Hello, fellow gamers of the world out there. Per usual, at work, brainstorm, brain blast, yada yada yada. This was actually on my mind for a little bit ever since I started playing a couple of Pokemon games these past couple of months. And I kind of dislike how games nowadays have like extra companion apps that you'd have to download if you want to take full advantage of the game. I prefer everything just be bundled in one package. You buy it, it's there. No other fucking extra accessories required. For example, if Kenway's Fleet, yeah, you can do it in the game, but you could also fucking, you know, launch on your iPad and do it wherever, for Black Flag. Or there was another game, I think it was Metal Gear Solid 5. They also had like some sort of mother base app that you can do it, somewhere else. But those are kind of just like, additions that you don't really need because you can still do it in the base game. But what I'm talking about here is Pokemon and its whole vault system. What the fuck was it? I have it literally. Pokemon Home. I dislike Pokemon Home. Uh oh. Sorry, phone almost went 6 feet under here. But I hate how you gotta download Pokemon Home to transfer Pokemon from games because let's take this for example. You're playing Sword and Shield. You're going through the whole game, and you're doing your usual collecting shit. Gotta catch them all, and then you're in my shoes. You do the DLC, the Tundra, and you do the fuck was it, the Max raid in the cave, and you manage to get to it, and you face your first legendary from a previous game, and it's Suqueen. Hope I got his name right. It's the fucking water doggo. I managed to kick the fucker's ass with a sliver of health, and I caught him. And lo and behold, it's a shiny. Like, you just saw the icon on the bottom left. You're like, wait a minute, is that fucking shiny? I love how I went from third person to first person. I just realized that just now. But fuck it, first person. Me. This happened to me. And I even looked up the images. I was like, holy shit. My first legendary for Sword is a fucking shiny. I was completely fucking baffled. And it's really funny because about a month and a half ago when there was like some sort of winter fest or something going on Pokemon Go, I saw Suqueen literally resting outside my fucking house. I was getting up early in the morning to go to work. It was during that something fest. I don't know what it was. It was whenever there was like the random chance of like the legendary doggos being out in the field. And naturally, I didn't catch them. Fuck it, I'll just confess it now. I was playing Sword on an emulator. And it's just funny how I fucking don't get it in this mobile game, yet lo and behold, I get it in Sword as a fucking callback Pokemon, or just like, like a bonus for a DLC. So that was honestly fucking awesome. But let's just say there's no way I can transfer the save, basically. I think. So Suqueen is basically stuck on that save. I will not be able to fucking protect them. Or I won't be able to fucking transfer them to a different game or start a new game for Sword unless I decide to use a fucking save editor. Which kind of defeats the purpose. And I know I know he's not the best Pokemon, obviously. But I mean, it's the fact that he's like my first shiny legendary. It's just like, yeah, it'd be nice if there was some way to fucking, not have to download an extra piece of software to transfer my Pokemon. So, gameplay, what if? And it's really fucking simple. There's one of two options that Nintendo can, go about this so you don't have to worry about downloading an extra piece of software. Because I'm sorry, let's just fucking cut to the chase. The real reason why they have the extra piece of software is because they only give you 30 slots, and once those 30 slots are filled up, you gotta either get rid of the Pokemon you have or pay for the fucking plan. That's the whole purpose of Pokemon Home, is to sell you a goddamn plan. And I'm sorry, I ain't with that. So how can you fucking keep your Pokemon if you want to go for the story? Because I'm that type of guy that after a few years of completely forgetting about the main, story chunks, I'd love to start a brand new game with some of my shit, that I grinded for in my fucking past save, and I get to keep it. So here's the one of two options. A simple option, which I'm baffled just isn't in the mainline games. New Game Plus. New Game Plus. Because you could still have the option of trying to play it normally and just use other fucking Pokemon from the start. Or just use your fucking level 99 shinies and just fucking tear through it. Every single fucking one. Like, why? Like, the whole concept of Pokemon is just to catch them all. Like, the story is kind of an afterthought. I'm sorry. Like, it's the same fucking story. You're an up-and-coming trainer. You're going throughout the land, catching Pokemon, training them, powering up. You're trying to defeat, like, between 7 to 9 trainers to become the champion of that region. And then, lo and behold, some sort of asshole antagonist unleashes some sort of legendary. It's going to be the real main final boss. And I assume you beat them, you save the world, everybody gives you a pat on the back. Oh my god, this fucking 10-year-old literally saved the fucking world! Here's a cookie. Ah! It's like, fuck the story. You're there to grind up the Pokemon, power them up, and capture all the badass legendaries. So again, if you want to replay the story, just give us a simple New Game Plus where everything carries over. Everything your inventory, everything your Pokemon boxes. Obviously take maybe the story important items. There you go. Bob's your fucking uncle. If a game as simple as Chrono Trigger was able to do that 30 fuck years ago, probably before Pokemon was even released, I'm sorry, they could have done New Game Pluses too. Now, the other option that could work, I'm dubbing it now, coining it, Pokemon Vault, where it's just an individual vault for each game. Now, you could still have the option to transfer to home and then transfer to that, but Vault is kind of more of like an in-game vault. Think like Borderlands 2's Claptrap thing, where you can save your items in that particular locker and it'll transfer over to a different game. Basically that same premise, except maybe it's like a completely separate save, where it's separated from like the story saves, and it just logs your fucking Pokemon. You can just store in there and take it out whenever you want to. Have it be like upgradable as well, because I mean, since the data probably wouldn't be that much, you don't have to worry about the restrictions of cloud storage and server costs. Just let you have an unlimited fucking amount, thousands upon thousands. Let you upgrade it with the Pokemon currency in the games or whatever, through some sort of special currency you get after you beat the game. Just something, anything. The reason why Pokemon Vault could be a good one is you don't have to worry about programming a fucking New Game Plus. Every time you start a new game, it's basically pure fucking freshness, and you could still save your Pokemon, because, once you start in that game, you can just go back to the vault, take it out, put it into your fucking character. There you go. Bob's your fucking uncle. And just fucking save them so you don't fucking lose them, because that's the thing. If you don't have any other way to transfer your fucking Pokemon, if you want to re-experience the story, you gotta juggle that whole fucking thing of, do I start a brand new fucking game and relive the story that I may or may not like, and lose my fucking Pokemon that I probably spent hours upon hours and days even to get this particular Pokemon? Or do I keep my Pokemon safe and sound and snug in my save file, but I can never experience this fucking story again? Because I guarantee you, fuck it. Me, trying to go through the same field over and over and over again to find a fucking perfect Ralts here that's shiny, and because, Sword decided, adding an extra layer of fucking bullshit, there's a new type of shiny. With instead of stars, it's square shards! In all fairness, I kind of prefer the square shards over stars. I don't know why. I guess squares appeal to me more, but I digress. Yeah, I just, imagine spending hours upon hours. I mean, fucking Christ, imagine one fucking Giga Chad just doing nothing but trying to collect every single fucking shiny. Complete the fucking shiny decks. Or even those that try and go for a perfect fucking Pokemon without, using bottle caps. There's just so much fucking grind involving that. I mean, look, in the grand scheme of things, yes. If you're not doing PvP and you're going up against the enemies in terms of PvE, there's obviously a base high limit. They're going to be as high as level 70 or 80, maybe even 90. Obviously, your Pokemon, depending on what item you equip for it, the held items, what level they're at, what fucking IVs you decide to prioritize, they're obviously going to fucking wreck shit over and over and over again. But again, you have your personal story where you fucking attempt a fucking raid first time in the DLC. You may get a fucking Pokemon you don't like, but then lo and behold, you end up getting your first fucking shiny. Your first legendary shiny. You're like, you know what? That's memorable. I want to keep that fucker. I want to keep the fucking record of how I got him. And now you're at risk of not being able to do it because, you don't want to download a particular service that, that could get shut down later on down the line. You just don't want to download, period, because you don't want those extra fucking services running. But come on, Nintendo. Come on. It's simple. Can't be that hard. It probably wouldn't even take no more than a day. If not for New Game Plus, Pokemon Vault. A way for us to save our Pokemon and begin the whole fucking story again anew. But that's all I want to talk about. A little bit of a fucking idea I had in the background. Like the video, like it, dislike it, go ahead and give us that thumbs down. Really wish you guys could see that, because, side note, I really do have to decide to hide the fucking, the thumbs down. Fuck it. Accept the criticism. It's a part of life. Leave some comments if you have ideas about how you'd want Pokemon to improve. And, subscribe to the channel if you like my ramblings. Manager's clocking out. I gotta work on a new end there. I gotta find something that appeals to me. Jumping out the window!